Hello, beautiful stars. Courtney Harris, Stars of the Morning Light. And today we have Empath of Hope, Dashni. Ladies and gentlemen, you beautiful stars, this used to be Sleepy Witch. So, what's been going on with you, Dashni?
Well, I have really been focused on growing my community, building my brand, building my business. I actually did a name change to Empath of Hope. And I feel like Empath of Hope is more opening to a lot more of society and other people. So I feel like it's going to steer me in the right direction, help people steer them to me in the right direction if that's what they need, if that's what they're seeking.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Because I do have to say your previous name and everyone here knew you as that as we met you last year, um, was Sleepy Witch. And even though it's a great name, it's a fun name. I think it was maybe a little bit yeah, not as welcoming to everyone, or maybe kind of made you seem a little bit young. I don't know, what's a different spin on it, the Empath of Hope. Have you gotten good feedback?
Yes, a lot of people love it. A lot of people.
Good. Yeah, because you are of that. You are very wanting to heal and love on people and care for people. So, what else has been going on before we get into like all the juicy stuff? What's been going on with you? We haven't seen you in a year.
I have just been actively growing and reading and teaching classes and focusing on building my Patreon and maintaining my spiritual path and so much in between.
Yeah. So, you are definitely on TikTok. I know you're a TikTok influencer and you work a lot on TikTok. I know
Yes.
you're doing the best you can here at YouTube. It's a bit difficult. We know. We know. Um, but you said teaching classes. What do you mean by that? Like what kind of classes and how in person, online? Like what do you mean by that?
Well, I do both, but predominantly I am an online teacher. I help teach people how to learn astrology. I teach people on how to meditate and ground themselves. I also teach people about crystals and their meanings and interpretations associated with certain zodiac signs because I am an astrologer. I am also teaching an upcoming class that drops on Valentine's Day, which is how to work with archangels.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Okay. So okay, before we even get into, because you just said a lot, I want to talk about astrology. I want to talk about angels. Um, where do you mostly teach online? Is it
Um,
Patreon?
through Patreon.
Okay, very cool. Do you have, is it different? Is it the different tiers, or is it like, can they buy the class or?
So you can go into my Patreon shop and look at the shop. It's everything is individually, but I did make a special tier in Patreon to where you can pay just one set price and get all of everything that's in the shop for that one set price instead of accumulating. So it's a very big discount, very big.
Oh, wow. Beautiful stars. All of her contact, Patreon, YouTube, everything will be in the description below. Dashni, I've actually sat in with one of it was your basic astrology class, right?
Yes.
You had a lot. And that was just your basic class that I can't imagine how much information people would get if they bought it in a bundle like that. I cannot, from astrology to crystals to I cannot imagine. Wow, cool. All right, guys, that information is below. Go check it out well, let's talk astrology for a minute. Because Dashni, I was driving today, like, oh yeah, I'm filming with Dashni. What's going on, Gordy? Duh. And I started thinking about your astrology. I seriously do need for you to do one for me. Do my chart because You briefly looked at mine that day in that class, and you were saying stuff that I had never heard. I think my mom kept a lot from me, or by the time she started telling me about it, she done forgot it all. And it changed so drastically that I was like, I need Dashni to do this for me. So not only do you teach about it, but you also will do that for people, their charts, right?
Yes, I do birth chart readings, and basically, I'm not gonna lie, it takes me like 6 hours to properly do a full birth chart for someone. And I'm old school, so I like to handwrite it. And
Hmm.
usually, if you was to get one, you would receive a notebook very similar to this in a binder that would have all of the birth chart information
Oh,
in it.
wow.
So you can have it and store it in your library.
Oh, wow. Are you really? So you could do that for people like all over the place and then mail that to them.
Definitely,
And then
definitely.
and then is there like a call that you kind of consult and like explain things even more so?
Yes, I do a consultation with there as well.
Wow. Oh, I'm totally gonna do that, Dashni. Because you're the one that was like, well, no, Courtney, actually your moon is on the cusp of Scorpio and Libra and blah. And I was like, what? What? Now you're changing my world. Like, so it's got to be that in depth. It's got to be huge. What are some just like basic things that people need to know? Because I'm realizing, my dear, that what I might have grew up with just knowing this stuff like as common knowledge because of my household, other people didn't. So like let's say you're looking at a horoscope or like even with any readings you might listen to online, they always say, "Oh, your moon, sun, rising, Venus, like what are some of the main things that people should know about themselves at least?" Like,
Okay, I could do a quick breakdown. So you always want to look for your north node. And the north node is a specific symbol. To me, it kind of looks like a powdered wig. It's a little curl that goes over with a little curl. And that is a symbol that talks about your purpose in life. And depending on what house and what planetary positions are in that house, can really tell about what you are meant to do and focus on in this world to unlock certain things within yourself. I would also say your rising or your ascendant sign, which is always located in the first house of your astrology chart, speaks a lot about yourself, your personality, and what you present to the world. Now, a
okay,
lot of
okay.
people,
Can I stop you right there?
yeah,
Because
of course,
I have all these questions. Okay. Sorry for cutting you off because I know how you can, woo, you know your stuff, girl.
I get nerdy with it.
Yeah. We love the nerds here. Okay, so North Node, purpose in life. Am I right with then the South Node is like what you have to overcome to fulfill that North Node? Okay.
Yes.
Because I
So
just kind of learned that stuff maybe a few years ago. Go ahead.
So your north node is your future. It's also associated with your higher self. Um, the north node speaks about a big karmic understanding and learning, as it's not so easy to get to the north node because we are stationed in the south node, which on the birth chart would be polar opposite on the opposite side of the chart as to where your north node would be. And the south node speaks about your comfort zone. It's your little
Mm,
bubble. It's the things that you're familiar with, but it also speaks about past energy, your karmic energy. It also
mm,
speaks about your baggage and things that you haven't sorted through. To get to the north node, you have to leave the south node, which is understanding, doing your healing, letting go of toxic cycles and toxic things in your life so you can ascend to your purpose in astrology, that is. But I would also look at in your birth chart the first, the fifth, and the ninth house. And those
the first,
houses,
the fifth, and the ninth house. Okay.
and the first, fifth, and ninth house really speaks of big areas of your spiritual path. And the first, fifth, and ninth house is Okay, so we're going to talk about this really quick. The first house represents you. The fifth house represents your passions and things that you create. And the
Hmm.
ninth house is also associated with your spirituality. So it's also associated with your learning and your development and your growth. So those houses really speak about your production and what you can create into the world to help you with your North Node.
Girl, I never knew any of this stuff. So my mom was the astrology person, and mothers and daughters, we'll just leave it there. So I never really like got into it because it was like, that's your thing, lady, mother. So I'm just not gonna get into it that much. Okay, so first, fifth, ninth, that's your spiritual development. That's the things to focus on. Okay, but you had also said. So I was raised with it being called your rising, but it's also called your ascendant.
Yes.
Isn't that also like kind of like what you got to work through or the tools you have to get to the north node? I don't know. What is the ascendant?
Okay. So your ascendant, which is actually associated with the angles of the birth chart. If you look at a birth chart, there's lines that go like horizontally and vertically, and those are position or angles, such as your AC, which is usually associated in the first house of astrology. That is your ascendant. That's why we call your rising sign is your ascendant, because it's associated next to that line on the ascendant angle. And then you also have your IC line, which is like your roots, where your home is. That's why it's associated next to the fourth and third house of astrology, as the fourth house of astrology is associated with Cancer in the home. And your,
Oh,
um,
like I think
yeah.
everybody just went, what? Like, okay. So
So
let's break it down to layman. To like
okay,
let's say I don't know anything. I haven't even taken the Empath of Hope basic class yet. It's like I don't know anything. What does the ascendant represent for me?
the ascendant is represented as yourself. It's your mind,
Oh,
your body, and your ego. It's associated with how you view the world and how the world views you. When you meet somebody in life, most people think, oh, well, whatever your sun sign is, for instance, I'm a Cancer. Most people would think, oh, I present as Cancer, but that's not true. You present as your rising sign. Your rising sign is your outer personality, is what you project into the world. That's why the first house is also associated with mask and your public status, your public image, and your appearance. As when you meet somebody, you don't present as your sun sign, but you present as your rising sign, as that is your focal point in your personality. I hope that makes sense.
whoa, yeah. So hold on. Now you just you took every star here and you made them go, what? Including myself. Because so this is what I do think I know. So I'm a Leo sun. I thought that's how I was presenting myself my whole life. And supposedly this is what I knew before I met you, Dashni, and you done changed up my whole life. Leo sun, Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant. That's what at least I thought I knew. Yeah, yeah, guys, contact Ashley, get to her. I got her email even like y'all need to talk with her, get your chart done because now I definitely need to. You're now, but I always thought, okay, the Leo in me is what people see. The Leo in me is who's on the screen, who's running these events, who's doing this, the lion heart, right? That's what I project to the world, but behind the scenes it's a whole lot of Scorpio. But you're kind of telling me it's a bit different if my ascendant is in Scorpio. I'm actually coming off as a Scorpio.
Yes. As your sun sign is your core personality, and your ascendant or your rising sign is your outer personality. Not a lot of people are always that sees the core personality. A lot of people see your outer personality, or what you project into the world.
So what
Which
is the sun sign then? Like
your
that's your core?
core is sun sign, and core your sun sign is based on the day that you were born, but your ascendant or your rising sign is based on the time that you were born. So your ascendant
Oh,
is seen as more it's seen as more accurate when presenting with personalities.
interesting. This is fascinating. Because I bet you if you asked anybody right now, they'd be like, Courtney doesn't present herself as a Scorpio. Y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know. Um, wow. Okay, so the sun is kind of like the core of you. Like what
Yes.
you probably really like, this is what really gets your flame going. This is the sun. This is what gets your heart going. So mine is Leo. Your sun is then how you are projecting, how you're presenting yourself, how so then what is moon?
So moon is basically your inner desires. It's also seen as your shadow side. Your
Mm.
moon sign is not always visible to other people. You don't always, showcase that secretive hidden interior of you, as the moon is represented as emotions and dreams and intuition and your psychic abilities and gifts. And not a lot of people present their moon sign, as they keep it hidden and secret. For instance, I'm going to give you an example. I am a Sagittarius moon. And if you know anything about Sagittarius signs, you know that they're always going, they're free spirit, they're open, they're blunt, they're outspoken. They just go where the wind takes them.
Yeah, they're
Their
a good
life is an
time.
adventure.
Yeah, they're a
And
real good time.
so, meaning a moon sign in Sagittarius is basically an internal dream to you, wanting to go travel, for you to go explore and be that so carefree individual, and to take you where the wind goes. Um, that's what kind of it represents. It's your inner side, it's your emotional side, it's your dreams, it's your fantasy.
Mm. Okay. But so, because I know that your sun is in Cancer, right? So does
Yes,
that Cancer kind of drown out all that fire from Sagittarius and go, no, 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 don't leave the house?
I
Does that
know
Cancer
that's
do that?
it definitely does. I'm definitely a homebody.
Yeah.
Um, and I like being in my comfort zone, in my comfort bubble, which is in my south node. I have a bad habit of staying in south node energy. My
Mm,
north node is in the seventh house. And we'll talk. Okay, so I said ascendant is that very first house. The descendant is the opposite house, which is usually in the sixth or seventh house, is your descendant. And the seventh house is about other people, as of
mm,
relationships. The seventh house is focusing on Libra energy, and the sixth house is focusing on Virgo energy, which is the healer. And so also being compassionate towards other people. So the first house is about me, or the first house is about you. The opposite of the first house is everyone else. So my north node is in the first house, or no, not north. My south node is in the first house. So I have a bad habit of being over independent and secluding myself away from the world sometimes, when I need to be in my north node of presenting with, helping with relationships and helping with other
right.
people. My that's my destiny.
I
But
think my North Node is in Leo as well. I'm pretty positive my North is in Leo. I'm pretty positive.
so in astrology depends on, and you said your rising is Scorpio. I can do calculations. Really, give
I
me 30
have,
seconds to think about this.
and as she's thinking, folks, isn't this fabulous? Leave comments below. We are learning a whole lot tonight.
So your north node is in the 10th house.
Yes, that I could tell you that. Oh, I should have just told you that.
You're good. I was
I didn't
doing
know what you were
calculations in
searching
my
for,
head.
Mama.
I was doing
Yes.
calculations in my head. So North Node being in the 10th house is beautiful. The 10th house is normally ruled by Capricorn, as it represents your business, it represents success and your outlook towards your dreams. The North Node is also seen as your purpose, but the 10th house is next to your midheaven or your MC line, which is about heaven and where your desires and dreams are, which you are meant to focus on your career path. That's part
Yeah.
of your North Node, is your
Yeah.
dream, your career, and to also collaborate with other people.
Yeah.
Um, because if your sun sign is in the 10th house, um,
Which it
or
is.
your
eh,
North Node is in the 10th house with Leo,
It
that
is.
means your ninth house is Cancer, which is your spiritual side, which is also that
Mm.
intuitive side, which is also where you connect to the unseen realms and the like subconscious area. It's your dreams. So you also,
Okay.
yeah, it's heavy. It takes me a long time to do someone's birth chart,
Yeah, but that
but
also
just,
makes sense too, because well, I'm thinking on also relationships of like my husband's that double cancer. Um, and I sometimes think that I question like if people saw Brad and I together, they'd be like, how does that couple work? How does that even happen? He is such an introvert. I'm out here talking to everybody on the planet. How does that work? But if he is my cancer too, kind of in my spirituals of the ninth or whatever, that's how we connect. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's how we connect, folks. Not with what you people see, but in a different way. That's fascinating. I do have to say though, like this, and we can kind of talk a bit more about different things as well, because I think everybody's got to pause and kind of take all this in because the majority, I think we all tend to I mean, think about when you start dating people, what's your sun sign? When we should really be asking, what's your ascendant?
yep.
Wow. And so yeah, folks, I'm all about my job. I'm all about doing stuff that like everything's happening in the ninth, 10th, and 11th and 12th house. Nothing else is happening anywhere else. Like nothing else. So speaking of that, big segue into why we're talking to Dashni here. She is going to be at New Earth Energy Market in April 27th and 28th in Ringgold, Georgia. Look for the turtle on Facebook, New Earth Energy Market. You can talk all you want with Dashni. She's going to be doing readings there. Definitely. Um, Dashni, before we move on though, I think I really do have to tell you, I'm gonna have to book with you to do that, order one or something, because you kind of just blew my world fully kind of up because so I don't know what it means that I'm presenting myself as a Scorpio. I've never been told that when you're really kicking it with is that maybe it's different from like Courtney on screen or Courtney around a bonfire or Courtney running events, what people might get. So you might get a little variations of me because that's what happens in the world. But 80% of the time, I'm being a Scorpio.
But also, Scorpios, they are very attractive and alluring. Listen, it's very important for you to know this, especially as a content creator. Scorpios, they pull energy, they attract that energy, they're mysterious.
Like
Um,
Elvis. Elvis was a Scorpio.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it makes people think and wonder about you as a person and what your ideals are and what you are bringing into the world. It makes people very excited to meet you and to,
Wow. And it's we don't have to talk about me the whole time. It's just it really did everybody. Beautiful stars. It did kind of whoa. All of a sudden, whoa. What'd she say? So okay, so clearly that's just Dashni off the top of her head. Can you imagine whatever's in her classes, folks? What about, I know you've done crystal classes. What about what's going on with releasing the class about angels on Valentine's Day, which is awesome.
So, okay, we all know that Cupid is associated with Valentine's Day, but Cupid is represented as a cherubim or an angel. But actually, sorry, I have to say this just in case y'all don't know. Cupid is actually in Greek mythology Eros, which is the god of love. But anyway, I thought that he was represented as an angel and the angel of love. Why not drop angels on Valentine's Day? And this class does go over four major archangels. We talk about Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Uriel. We talk about where you can find them and what religious text books that they are in. I tell you my personal experiences. I tell you prayers that I have formulated. I tell you what you can do, like for certain offerings and things to create an angel altar if that's what you want to do.
I got Michael right here. He's right there. Nice.
Yes.
So this is rude. I guess we don't pick favorites, but let's say who do you work with the most? Let's say that.
Uh, well, I worked with Archangel Michael for over a year, and he really showed me a lot of lessons in understanding and compromising. That was a big one because Archangel Michael is, associated with protection as he is the leader and the warrior of good versus evil. He is also there to bring justice into the world
Mhm.
and the truth and understanding. He is there to
Yeah.
protect and guard, safekeep your beautiful energy and to help you bring in more of a understanding and compromise with working with other people.
Right.
Archangel Michael was the strongest angel energy that I have came in contact with. I'm not saying nobody else is less because I've worked with a lot of angels. Archangel Michael don't play. When you call upon him, he's there to assist.
He
Always.
is. Yeah, always. Like there doesn't even have to be too much discussion. It's like yeah, he's ready to get down with whatever needs to happen. Like, yeah. Even when it's like, dude, like you don't even have to get that aggressive. It's not that big.
I agree. The energy of Archangel Michael is so powerful. Sometimes it brings you to your knees and
Oh,
in a very spiritual manner. Um, but only good things to say about it. Now,
how go ahead. Go ahead.
Archangel Raphael, which is also the angel of healing and the angel of love, and he is one that I have been really working with recently, um, and understanding more about that path because I am a light worker, I am a healer, and it would only make sense for me to make a relationship with the Archangel Raphael since he is the angel of healing and um, and connection. And I always associate Archangel Raphael with the staff of Caduceus. I hope I said that right.
Mm,
Which is actually the staff of healing. And you would know the symbol of the staff of Caduceus as it's also on most ambulances and in
mhm.
hospitals.
Yeah.
So, um,
Dajani, can I ask, oh shoot, I did have a question there. When you started talking about the staff, I was like, whoa, now that's a whole nother ball game. Um, what got you enticed to work with angels? Like, why? Not everybody does. Not everybody does. So why were you kind of called to that?
well, to be honest, I was always I was in contact with angels when I was a child, and I never really realized that's what it was, or what they were called then. And I just, I dropped it off to the side for years because I was going through my own trials and tribulations in life. And I started back understanding and getting more connected to source, getting more connected to my spiritual path. And there was one time I was going through a very big, bout of depression, and I was going through anxiety and stress, and I was just crying.
Mm,
And the first thing that I felt internally in my spirit is just say, call out to Michael, call out to Archangel Michael. And I said, you know what? It's worth the shot. It's worth, that's exactly what I said. It's worth the shot. And I just called out to Archangel Michael. I had my heart open. I was in tears. I was at the brink. I said, I need some guidance. I need some protection. I need some assistance. And lo and behold, the energy that, came to me, and I say came to me, um, it was so powerful. And one of my experiences I tell in the class is that my ears started to ring. And if you are a spiritual person, you know about ringing of the ears, and about how it's your spirit guides communicating with you. My ears started to ring so loud, I felt the vibration
Mm.
of my ears go down my body all the way down to my feet. And I am
Wow.
psychic, so I started to channel why I felt that energy with Archangel Michael. And I seen something that the only way that I can describe as melted crystal water wash over my body and cleanse me. And as soon as that happened, I felt so happy. I felt so loved. I felt like all of those issues that I was calling upon Archangel Michael for were immediately vanished like that. But I also say that everyone's experiences will be different. Angels can come to you in different forms based on what you are perceptive of. So each person's experience with working with an angel is not always the same, as they are different. They come to you because we are humans. We we can only understand so much. I will say this: we can only understand so much, and they don't want to overload us with too much
Yeah.
download or energy. So it does take about working with relationships and building a relationship with that angel for you to actually feel extremely more connected. But I will also say this: once you do form a relationship with an angel, you feel more, I don't know, peace within you, more love. I feel like I'm just so close within my faith. I wake up every morning and I thank them personally. I
Yeah,
thank
so do
them,
I.
and
Yeah,
I'm so grateful.
Dashni, I don't mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think where you're headed right there is a really important message for people as far as it's the relationship building. It really is. I mean, and I have to say, even you, my dear, because I have had talks with you, I can see and hear that you have even been developing relationships with them since the last time we kind of even talked about this, because it is that. It is it is a relationship. And all things really are a relationship. So I kind of want to just emphasize that a bit because I don't think people know that. I don't think you just call on angels and ask them for stuff without anything in return either. Any going out and them being a better human, at least that, or not communicate. It's like same with like working with the moon. You got to talk with her. You don't just start asking her for a bunch of stuff to manifest without building that relationship. So I definitely I can kind of hear that. I can hear it in your voice too, and what you're saying that you've been growing those relationships, and that's wonderful. How are you doing with Raphael and the healing?
I've just been getting more insight and understanding, as I feel that Raphael is more, um, I always, I feel like he grants me wisdom and patience with talking to
Mm.
people so I can relay messages more beautifully and poetic instead of how I first was delivering messages when I started my journey. I was, you know, maybe not so sweet about it. I was like, well, this is what you need to know. And
You were definitely like dot 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 like bullet points, just whoosh, throwing them at people. And now I've even seen the change with that of like, okay, so you can do it this way. This is what this means. So yeah, this is great. Here's the thing. We started out talking about how you started as Sleepy Witch. And I have had the honor to witness the development into Empath of Hope. You see what I'm saying? And we're talking about this, and it's only been a year. You were here last year around this time for the same, promoting the same event. So uh, it's phenomenal to me. It's lovely to witness and watch and know that it's inspiration to others, Dashni. I mean, think about all the people that follow you, then they're seeing this progression. They're seeing all of this and the words that you said one time and now say it a different, because we're all growing and developing. I think. Question. Do you think there's angels out there that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so there is 9 choirs of angels, but only 3 tiers, like 3 tiers of 9 choirs, meaning 3 different distinctive angels within each choir, which is each, an additional level. And we only know that we can communicate or they work with humanity is the lowest tier. The middle tier works with like planets and space and other things. And the highest tier, which are like cherubims, thrones, and the seraphims, they only stay in the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of above, whatever, you know what I mean.
Well,
They
then
are
break that. Hold up, sister, because now you just did it to folks again. You just coming right out there. Break that down just a little bit more. So there's
okay.
tier, kind of like how there's tiers of demons, right? A lot of my patrons here know that because we covered a lot of that kind of ground in my Patreon. So let's talk about the tiers of angels, because that's a thing. And maybe, beautiful patrons, maybe you purchase that class that's coming out on Valentine's Day to learn. Is this stuff in there?
I don't go too far into it, but I tell you what each description of those angels are.
Okay,
And
awesome.
so
But
um if I'm not mistaken, I don't have my information with me, but the lowest tier of angels are regular angels, um, principalities, and archangels. These sets of angels work directly with humanity, with governing the nature, governing countries, governing communities, helping people connect to source, helping people connect to their spiritual path. And those are the angels that assist humanity directly. Now, there's another tier of angels that are said to be described as planets or focusing in space, and it's the link between, so to speak, heaven and earth. Though that angel line
like the
and
beings I
those,
talked to in the Akashic.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And then you also have the highest tier of angels, which most of those are said to only never leave the throne of God or leave heaven or the higher place. Whatever it is that
Wherever that
you,
is, yeah.
whatever that is, I'm just be honest. No discrimination over anything, but
All right.
um, whatever that is, they associate only there. They don't associate with humanity because
Right.
the and I've heard stories. Um, I read a lot of experiences with people working with angels. Angels working with angels is not the faint of heart, because they don't play around.
Mm.
You can't communicate with an angel and say, "My heavenly angel, I need $1 million." That ain't never going to happen, because the thing is that the angels are there to assist. They're there for a hand up, not a hand out. Meaning they will only help you get to where you need to be if it was always meant for you to be there. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, amen,
So
sister. I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Um I I think all humans can achieve greatness, and I think all humans are way bigger than they limit themselves to be. I think there's a lot of, for me personally, like that lower tier that you're talking about. I also think that a lot of hermetics is also within that, as you talk about. Go ahead. You just, if you guys did not see that on the screen, because I don't know if this is coming out right, Dashley just went, so what?
So let's talk about hermetics really quick and an angel. One of the an angel associated with hermetics in general is Archangel Uriel, as they are, more pronounced and that aspect than many other religious texts. Now, there is such information, such as like the golden age of dawn. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called,
Yeah.
to where they associate Archangel Uriel with coming up and giving information that focuses on like alchemy, focuses on the more of a practitioner's practice with
Right.
that angel, as Archangel Uriel is the angel of wisdom and knowledge. And I first encountered Archangel Uriel when I was going through a spiritual awakening and I needed help with understanding and deciphering certain things. So I called upon Archangel Uriel, and I'm going to tell you something. When I'm going to speak directly about this experience. Think about so much information all at once. So much information. That's all, basically what I asked for, is like to help me understand things. I was given symbols, I was giving understanding, spiritual meanings. But it was almost like it recharged me. It rebooted me from, like, think of a computer screen as like a 404 computer screen. It says error, something not found. And you hitting the refresh button and going directly to all of the downloads immediately. That's what was the energy that I felt from Archangel Uriel.
Okay, hold up,
But
sister. Hold up. I know you just said, but we'll get back to it. Dashni, that was the last time you and I spoke together alone, like with no one around. It was right before that. And you were like, I think Ariel wants to talk to me. I don't know what's going on. There was a lot happening. So you're telling me, because now you're just talking to me. Because I'm curious. I need to know. You're telling me that you finally took the step, you finally allowed the conversation to happen, and it was a like woof.
yes. Um,
Okay.
and I mean, it was really, really intense. I wrote down I write my experiences with angels down like in a diary, to keep it, because in the future I would like to write a book about my experiences in general, like full experiences. But with Archangel Uriel, that's what it felt like. It was almost like electricity had pierced
Mm.
um, a stagnant computer screen and rebooted everything, recharged it. And I felt so good. I was perceiving so much more information than what I thought, but um, it was really good. But to fully understand and grasp Archangel Uriel, for me, it's not just a one time thing or one time exchange, it's multiple occurrences. Um, but the biggest thing of what any angel, any archangel is, they want you to do something called acts of service,
Mhm.
which is helping other people. That's what they truly want.
Yeah.
They want
Well, that's
humanity to harmonize well together.
That's definitely what we want. Yeah, that's definitely what is needed. Yeah, so that's what I meant, is they're not just gonna hand you anything without you then going out and being a good person and those acts of services that you're talking about. They're handing you stuff or helping you through stuff so you can then go out there and be a light in the world. I mean, that's the point of all this. So yeah, definitely. How do you feel now with the exchanges that you've had with all the archangels? Do you feel the difference within and out and all around?
Yes. I feel more connected to my spirituality and more connected to the divine light within me that connects me to source and me to angels. Um, I also feel like angels has brought in a new sense of purpose within my life and a new sense of understanding other people. And one thing is I whenever I pray or I just have a conversation with one of my angels, um, I I'm always like, please give me patience with understanding. Please give me patience, and helping communicate things,
Yeah,
because I'm just on the go. I'm always like spewing information, helping everybody along the path. And I try to articulate things in a certain manner to present it better. And I feel like also that, but I've also noticed that when you ask for a sign from an angel, you will definitely receive something
yeah,
every time. I
yeah.
receive something. So I don't know.
Have you spoken with, let's say spoken with, have you spoken with Metatron?
Not yet. I'm kind of waiting for that one to develop
Yeah.
because Metatron is extremely, extremely powerful and very,
I
very
get that
wise.
from like a lot of people, they say that. And I don't disagree because the relationship, as we say, relationships, folks, the relationship I have with other angels is so not how it goes with Metatron. So not how it goes. Like I don't fear him. It's not that. I don't fear him. I don't, it's not, anything like that. It's just a very different, like he says and I do. Like that, it's not a, you know, I, there's not a lot of comfort, let's say there. There's not a lot of, it's a lot, it's not a lot of like, oh, Courtney, let's heal you and have fun together, or let's talk about this and sort this out. I'm gonna teach you this, or he's taught me a lot though. That I should Metatron is actually the one who's taught me more than any others. But it is very black and white. This is how you do this. Now go do it. Now go do it. He's always like, he'll show me what to do, and then he'll go, now I want you to go do that. And it's like, okay, something that nobody's ever heard about, nobody knows about. Thanks, Metatron. You know where we live, right? You know how it is down here, right? Like, so, buddy, it's very, I don't want to say uh, he's got his own character opposed to like the other ones that are they will communicate more, let's say, right? That's how but a lot of people I want to say they respond that way. But like, oh, he's very powerful. This he is, but I think the power then for some reason when we think of power we also might have associate like we're not worthy or it's going to be too much or this and that. No, no, no. He's just very different than the rest. That's what it is. He's very different. Um, you mentioned you're writing all this stuff down in hopes of one day writing a book.
Yes.
Are you I think you're also working on a book right now though too, right?
I
A different book. What books are you working
um
on?
the current book that I'm working on is about spiritual awakenings and my personal experience with spiritual awakenings and what are signs or key understandings of what you're going through and how to stay more grounded during a spiritual awakening. Because when you start receiving those downloads, it can make you go in outer space.
Mhm.
And I also speak a lot about, remaining calm, not going through too much. And it's also about trickster spirits as well, because
Oh.
spirit will never give you more than what you can handle through a spiritual download. And when you're going through a spiritual awakening, you're elevating your knowledge and you're elevating your spirit, which means that certain energies like to come in and give you extra information. And some of that information can go into Delulu land. That's what I like to say, Delulu land. So I talk about that a little bit and tell you
How
um,
to identify?
how
Like,
to identify spiritual psychosis. But
wow,
I also
cool.
tell you,
All
I'm not
right.
a doctor, so I cannot really say too much. I can just understand, tell you what some
Everything's a
of
suggestion. Yeah, everything's a
the
suggestion and a personal journey. Yeah. Wow. That's a little bit that information would kind of set that book apart, what I'm hearing, opposed to a lot that's out there because people don't talk about that, sweetheart. And I think to tell you the truth, a lot of people that are out there, they got tricked and now they're living in the trick world. The what did you call it? Lululand, Dululand,
Delulu land, which is
Lululand.
delusion,
Right.
delusions.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get stuck there. I call it the astral plane, but that's me and all the ancient texts. Me and all of the ancient texts, by the way, and David Icke. Me and David Icke call it the hell land. But anyway, but I think a lot of people get stuck there because They think that that's what's accurate. They think, and they don't put it up against anything else, like ancient texts, like communicating it with other people. And I think there's a lot of people out there that co-sign others' bullshit. To tell you the truth, they do, especially in the woo-woo community. Because how do you argue it or or tell somebody no when it's like some oddball experience? There's not enough people out there going, no, that ain't right. That was some trickster. That ain't right. You went to a horrible astral plane. That ain't right. There's not enough people telling these people, no, you got it wrong, or you're being influenced. And I think that's what really needs to flip. So the fact that you're putting that into writing, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Jeez.
I had to learn my own lesson with that. That's the only reason why I knew is I had to learn my own lesson. And the reason why is that there's different levels to spiritual awakenings. Sometimes you'll go through like a baby level and you just get a little bit of information. You don't get too much. There's levels to where you can jump 4 or 5 steps
Mhm.
and get a large download. When you get large downloads like that, you can go straight up into conspiracy theories and your mind believes it. You believe the conspiracy theories that trickster spirits are telling you. Now there is also divine messages hidden within these, but because of the trickster spirits, they're trying to make you go because you're getting a wisdom download from source, from your angels, from
Right.
the spirit of positivity and light. You're going to attract when you were receiving, think of an invisible white light shining down upon you. Trickster spirits see that white light as, moss to a flame. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're going to go mess with this person, we're going to have fun. That's exactly what they are portraying themselves. So when you're getting the spiritual download or message, they're like, oh, um yes, Archangel Michael says that, blah blah blah, and it's really had nothing to do with that. But they will make you ascend into madness,
Yeah.
which is just something to be warned. When you go through a spiritual download, spirit will never give you too much. That is just one thing with knowledge, with understanding. Spirit will never give you too much. When you feel like there's so much going on, trickster spirits are at play. And
I
it's really
agree.
to cleanse
I
your energy and cleanse your home. And after you do that, go and cleanse your body, like
yes.
shower.
Yes, I totally agree, sweetheart. And I'm happy that you put up or you said the concept of it can even get into like the conspiracy theories aspect. I tend to just tell everybody not everything you think of when you're high is accurate. I
That's right.
mean, you know what I'm saying? And um I for me I could care less about conspiracy theories, but that's a great way for especially this audience here because they get very involved. They can get very involved in all of that, that then has many layers of all of that, that does not serve it does not serve the masses because it's just still in the negative. That's how the tricksters are telling you you're enlightened, you know all this stuff, go spread it to the world. It's really the tricksters that are trying to say, keep the world in paranoia and fear." Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like,
I'm not. What you're talking about is legitimately 100%. Like, let's go spread the message of the truth that you have been enlightened to. I'm not discrediting any information that you received from a spiritual inspiration, spiritual enlightenment, but that is legitimately what happens for most cases is that people start getting a heavy download and their mind cannot hardly process it. It takes them a long time to understand it. And while they're still understanding the divine message, you got trickster spirits just like manipulating the information as it comes down to you, and it is wild. You'll
yeah,
have people like I've seen people just they go crazy. That is really honestly truth. They go 100% into psychosis. They think that butterflies follow them everywhere. They
Oh
would only
yeah.
start dressing in a certain color clothes. They would not talk to certain people because, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
it can get,
That's very cool. Now that we've talked about it here, maybe you should, if I don't know if you wrote that section of your book yet, but maybe like really kind of broadly write that section or boldly write that section because no one talks about that part and no one has the balls enough. I think this is why I get a lot of phone calls and texts. You probably get a lot of phone calls. Is this real? What happened with this? What's that? No, like let it go. Because not enough people either are aware themselves of the differences because we're not skilled yet that way. And I'm not saying they won't, but they will. And or they don't want to tell somebody, yeah, no, that's completely batshit crazy. You're wrong. Something's messing with you. Right. So if you put it in writing, that's awesome. Especially in a book about awakening, because that's gonna happen. I've seen it with everybody. I saw it with my husband for like a damn year, and it was crazy. I thought we were gonna end up living below ground or something. I don't know what was going on. So, like, it was great, but it was all because it was at the beginning of his big awakening, right? So this is not in judgment, folks. This is in Dashni and I understand there's
yes,
other principles and, stuff going on, spirits going on, influences going on that others might not know about. So this is not in judgment. This is get a community to check these things off with each other. That's what my patrons do that. We will send emails. What do y'all think about this? Or what about that? Or what about this? To get the feedback to know, hey, to check ourselves, right? So, Dashni, let's run over where can people find you again on the and when's that book coming out, do you think? Now that we're talking about you writing it.
I want to get it released by July. I
Okay,
really want
cool.
it. And you would possibly, I'm thinking about only dropping it in my Patreon store as a PDF so you can read it as you go.
Okay, cool. You want to get there for your birthday, don't you?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Nice goal. I like that. You got time. If you're not able to see Dajni on April 27th and 28th at New Earth Energy Market in Ringgold, Georgia, where do they find you, Dajni? Let's verbally tell them, and they will be in the description below, folks.
Okay. You can find me on Etsy. You can find me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can also find me on Patreon. And
Is it
um,
all under Empath of Hope?
yes, everything is Empath of Hope. Definitely.
Nice. Okay.
Um, and I will definitely you can click the link tree and just follow it. I always tell everybody just follow the rabbit hole. You never know where you're going to go. You never
Right.
that link tree has got many different options in there.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so the link tree is below, folks. That's how this is gonna go. Definitely think about that angels class. Think about getting your chart done by day. I'm definitely gonna get my chart done. Dashni, I'll have to text you because now I'm like, this is a must now. I don't know who I am apparently. So, and do you think doing a birth chart does help with that? Like really kind of helping someone understand what makes them them? It's not this is your life and this is the end all be all and this is all the little minutia, but it's like this is the rough blueprint of who you are as a character, energy, being, and form, right?
Yes. Um,
Okay.
I I do believe that you getting a birth chart reading will tell you a lot about what you have experienced in your life. It can tell you what you experience in relationships, how you form in relationships. It can tell you about what your dreams are, what your purpose is. It can speak really heavily about your soulmates or what people you attract in your life. what is a very good soulmate zodiac sign connection to you. I
Mhm.
also go into see, I'm a little bit different when I do birth charts because I do divination on in the birth chart as well. So I would do future predictions for you, and I would also do your occurrences or things that's already possibly transpired in your life.
Do you do ones for couples? Because
And not yet.
I always thought about for Brad and I's anniversary, I was like, because when we first started dating, I got one of those books that like, are we compatible? And we went through it and it was like, no. But hell, we've been together now forever. Um, so I've always thought there's gotta be another layer to it. So I always wanted to get us like a reading for our anniversary, maybe next anniversary, next year. Um, is that something that maybe I'm the only one that cares about that?
No, there's a lot of people that seek those kind of birth charts. Maybe I will offer them in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's interesting. Because then you can also know like what I'm thinking is that you can know like, okay, so what would help us? What do I got back off of? What is just that is who he is. That is who she is. Let it be. Especially for those that are maybe only the first few years in a relationship. That it's like, who the hell am I with? Well, then that that can tell you. Um, well, folks, you beautiful stars, you lovely, lovely lights. This has been an episode to promote the New Earth Energy Market in April. Dashni's going to be there. Dashni, I'm actually thinking about just having you back at some point, regardless of the event or not, just like hanging out, um, just hanging out as we have to do in person as well. So, any last words, my dear?
Um, hopefully you'll find whoever is watching this, hopefully you fall right in the direct path where you're always meant to be. Hopefully you'll find your purpose and your destiny in life, and hopefully you'll find your spiritual connections.
Yeah. Yes, beautiful stars. We all want that for everyone. So thank you, Empath of Hope. Thank you everybody for listening. This has been awesome. Dajni, I'm sure I'll see you. And everybody else, I will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up for me, guys, and share the message of Empath of Hope. Thanks, Dajni. Good night,
You are so,
all.
thank you.